Good morning from the RHR studio here in New York. This is Ray, W2RE. So the other day I did a presentation on the Summit location, and then I lost the ISP. A few people sent me email and said, hey, can you do another presentation on Summit? And hopefully the ISP will make it through. So if you've already watched this, you can tune it out. I'm just going to go over the W2 Summit rebuild again. A few have found it interesting and asked if I could do a retake because halfway through the presentation, I lost the internet here at the property in New York. So please share this video with your friends. This is going to be a retake of the W2 Summit build. I'm going to talk about how I built my first contest station away from home. If you haven't seen this before, stick in here. It'd be pretty good. If you've seen it before, you can move on. Like I said, I did this presentation early this week, and we had ISP problems. So let me say hello to a few people in here. Hey, Eric. It's pretty cold up here. It's below freezing. Hello, Lee. Golf 6, Mike, November, Delta. John, Kilo Bravo 6, Oscar, Victor, Oscar. In November 2, Zulu, Echo, India. Good to see everybody in here. It's 8 a.m. here on the East Coast of the United States. And I'm going to talk about the W2 Summit build. And I'll give you a little history about this station before I start going into the pictures here. Good morning, Whiskey 5, Mike Sugar Lima, Oscar Zulu 1, Delta, Whiskey X-Ray. I'll recognize people here as they check in on chat. Whiskey 2, Alpha Golf, Carmel. Hello, Mike. Mike Troy. Long time no here, my friend. Hope everything's well down there in Carmel. I was actually down there yesterday. I had to swap a Flex radio in Lake Carmel. Okay. We're all doing pretty good here. Things are cooking with gas here at RHR and my own personal business, Radio Echo Communications. 2021 is looking like it's going to be really good. Been getting a lot of emails for tower work. And we'll see how this progresses with the COVID-19 in 2021. Hello, Brian. Hello, Gregory. And hello, Brian Campbell. 2 Echo 0, Italy Lima Fox. 2 Echo 0, Alpha Queen Queen. Greg and I had QSO the other day. If you haven't checked in, both from 9 Alpha in the United States almost simultaneously. Good morning, Sam. November Whiskey 7, Oscar, one of the youths that get up early in the morning. Papa Delta 4, Hotel Whiskey, good to see you in there. So if you see Sam, he just put in chat, he's coming in from Twitch TV. I could tell you, I go back and I watch some of these videos, and the Twitch TV platform, with just the quality of the video, the quality of the video is much better than it is on Facebook or YouTube. So you may want to check out Twitch TV. It's free. You can sign up and just look up Remote Ham Radio in your search engine in Twitch TV, and you'll come right to us. Good morning, Michael. We're going to be talking about the Summit New York QTH when I built it in 2010 to where it is currently. And good, Jose, good to see you in here. Peter, Lima Alpha 2, Papa Indy Alpha. Okay, let me get started here. So in 2010, I bought property in Summit, New York. It's on a mountaintop, 2,200 feet above sea level. It's 2 hours from my home QTH, and it's 180 miles west of New York City. Beautiful piece of property on a dead end. No houses literally around. I mean, there are a few, but most of them are vacation homes. So no man-made noise. It's just a pleasure to listen to. It's like listening on a beverage, but on your Yagi. This noise floor is just incredibly low. And it's a pleasure to get on a year from this location. So here's the for sale sign. Here's my pickup truck that I no longer have. This was 2010. I drove to the property. And let me just tell you, from between 2000 and 2010, I would periodically drive up to the Catskill Mountains looking for that dream QTH. And I never found it until I found this one. So Summit, New York, this is the terrain map of the property. It sits at the house sits at 2,050 feet above sea level. The top of the hill is at 2,170 feet above sea level. And we own all of this. Back here we have our 160 and 80 meter four squares, and we have 4 towers on the property. We can add an additional 2 under the building permit restrictions. It's in Summit, New York. So this is what we pulled up to that day. We came up, we looked at it. I liked the house from the outside. Obviously, I didn't go inside until the real estate agent showed up. But this was Martin Luther King Day. I remember it specifically because I was still working for Pepsi Cola. And I waited for a day that I got off from work so I could drive up there. So it was Martin Luther King Day. I was with my daughter, Kelly, who was, I think, 13 years old at the time. She's the mother of Ella. Most of you that follow me know all about Ella, my granddaughter. So this is the after effect, and that's the before effect. Before, this is when we bought it in 2010. And this is a picture in the winter of 2010. So this is actually the beginning of 2010. This is February 2010. And this is December 2010, 10 months later. So here we are. We pull up. Here's Kelly, 13 years old at the time. Always wanted to hang out with Dad. And she still wants to hang out with Dad. So, for matter of fact, you want to hear a really cool story? Kelly right here, 13 years old, right? She's getting married. She's getting married in May. Her fiance and Kelly just bought a house. They bought a house specifically just in case Dad wants to put a tower in the backyard. So they bought a house. They bought a house on a hill. And guess what? We're going over there. We're going to put a wire antenna on the Flex 6400 up. And we're going to put it on the youth network. And then maybe someday we'll put a tower on there if I need it. But Kelly may not be a ham radio operator, but she knows an awful lot about it. Here I am. Same time frame, much younger. 2010, I would be 45 years old in that picture. If you notice, the beard is not gray. There's Lori. Lori, this is a different time frame. So it was just Kelly and I that came up the first time. I think after Kelly and I looked at the property, we had to get the mom up there right away to give the approval. So, Lori finances all this stuff. So we had to bring Lori up. And this is right after, probably the weekend after Martin Luther King Day in 2010. Then I think I went up there a few weeks later. This is after I made the deal on the property. So it's 20 acres at 2,100 feet above sea level approximately. I made a deal with the buyer through the real estate agent, and we settled. They wanted $175,000, and we landed up settling for $137,000. So I got a nice chunk of change off by playing a little hardball. I'm real big into negotiating. So here we are. First family photo of the W2 Summit QTH. This is probably early May of 2010. Could probably have been around Memorial Day. First thing we do, we get a quad. Of course, if you're going to have 20 acres on a mountaintop, it's good to get a quad. And this thing actually came in handy when we were doing tower work. Lori posing in front of the quad. More family pictures on the deck. Kids are having a great time. So I bought this awesome QTH for ham radio, and the family just loved going up there and getting and doing outdoor activities. So it was a win-win. There was this ugly carpet on the inside of the house, and I'm really big into hardwood floors. I never like carpeting, so First thing we did was rip up the carpeting and put in hardwood floors. This is what it looks like afterward. The real wood stuff, not that prefab wood. It's just a real nice QTH on the inside. So now we fast forward. Now it's the summer of 2010. You could tell it's actually 2010 by the T-shirt I'm wearing. World Radio Sport 2010 Russia. Okay, you see that on the shirt there. By the way, if you look on the shirt I'm wearing right now, this is the WRTC 2004 shirt with my call sign on it. I was actually a competitor. And the only reason I got into that WRTC 2014 was because of the W2 Summit QTH, because it's that good. We won a lot of contests from here prior to remoting, and it got us into WRTC. Getting ready to figure out how deep I got to go on these holes. Being that this is on a secluded dead-end road, and these towers were going to be built kind of inland off the beaten path, there was no way I was going to get cement truck to these holes. So here's a delivery of, I'm going to guess around 300 bags or so of concrete, 80-pound bags of the pre-mix stuff. I knew I had to get 4 tower bases in plus 4 guy anchors. 12 guy anchors. So I had the concrete delivered. Nice to do it this way. They came right up with the forklift. This way I didn't have to go down and pick it up and put it in the back of the pickup and drive up there. Here it is coming off the truck. There it is piled up. I actually took a tarp and put it over it because once these bags get wet, they're done. So I had this blue tarp put over the top of it. And over the summer of 2010, I did a lot of pouring of concrete. You'll see more photos of that here shortly. If you're just checking in, I'm doing the retake of the W2 Summit rebuild. In 2010, I built a contest station on a mountaintop. Remoting wasn't even an idea at this time. So I'm building a remote contest station, but I'm not remoting it. But this is in 2010, so if you're just checking in. And I'm going to get on to how we got to remoting this station here shortly. So here we are. Hard work never scares me. I'm okay with hard work. I actually look forward to it because it's good exercise. Here I am, 2010. I'm in pretty damn good shape at the time. Probably here about 180 pounds. I'm a little heavier than that right now, but we'll get back into the gym. And first tower section going into the ground. This is Roan 45. Keep in mind, the person that's taking the pictures is my daughter Kelly. Like I said earlier, back in the day, my daughter wanted to be out there with me doing the tower work, not the boys. Here we are pouring concrete. Of course, we always frame it out with wood because you always want to get above the terrain of the ground level so no water gets into those tower legs. Here's Kelly at 13 years old in the action, mixing the concrete. So by the way, we had this the pickup truck out here. We're in the middle of a field, way off the beaten path, and Kelly was listening to music with the truck, and the battery died. And we're like, uh-oh, what do we do? We don't know anybody up in Summit. This is, we're new to the area. And the battery died. We had to have Lori drive all the way up, 2 hours up and 2 hours back to jumpstart us. So here I am digging more. Here's a Roan 25 that we put in concrete. Here I am moving tower sections around. These were all used sections that I picked up over the years. being in the tower business, doing tower work, I was able to pick a lot of this stuff up used when people were buying new. Very simple for me just to get this at a good discount. Every time I build a station, it's under a budget. I have this awesome trailer with every possible rigging tool in it. And I could never go on a major tower job and not have this trailer with me, because there's so many times that I've been to a tower site and I didn't take this trailer and I kicked myself in the butt later. That's the inside of the trailer. This is the trailer at the location in Summit, New York. Back in the day, we had a company called Hudson Valley Towers. It still exists today, but we only do commercial work under that. And the remote ham radio station builder built under Hudson Valley Towers. I'll talk about my other business later, Radio Echo Communications. Here I am, just keep on digging by hand. Another concrete done. Appreciate it. Let me just take a moment out because, the audience is in here. I'd like to always recognize them. Last person I said hello to was Michael up there in Finland. Sweden. We got Kilo 3 Echo Fox Sugar. Good morning to you from Twitch TV. Federico, good to see you. We got Paul, Mike 6 Kilo, Queen Kilo. We got Eric. We got November Whiskey 7 Oscar. We got Andrew, Hotel Bravo 9 Echo Lima Hotel. Golf Oscar 4 Golf Bravo Delta. We got Mini Whip. Oscar November 3 Sugar Echo Lima. And we got Kevin in here. Good to see everybody in here. I just want to take a quick moment and get on my Facebook page here, and just to make sure everything's working okay. Can anybody make a comment on how the audio is? When you're doing this live, sometimes things just don't work out as planned. So I just want to make sure that the pictures are coming through and all the good stuff is happening on this live stream that we're doing at the moment. So, okay. So, and we also appreciate when people share these videos. I really do. So if you could share it to the popular ham radio sites, that would be great. There's a lot of groups out there that we'd appreciate if you could share it to. Okay, good on the audio, fantastic. That's great news. Let me just share this to a few people, a few of my friends that like to watch this. So I'm going to share this. Just stand by one moment. QRX, one moment as I share this. I'm going to share this to the Remote Ham Radio private group. There's a group over there that's private. You're welcome to join if you like. I'm going to share it to there. I'm going to share it also to the Flex Radio Enthusiastic group because, we own more Flex radios than any other organization, so we're a big supporter of Flex. We'll share it over there. Ham Radio 2.0, great. If you're not a group member or belong to Ham Radio 2.0, go over there and join it. I also have a site called Ham Radio Live Streaming on Facebook. I'm going to share it over there. Okay? I think those are good groups to share it to. Okay, let's continue on. Here's the concrete base of a Roan 25 tower. So while all this is taking place in W2 Summit, I'm also the one of the U.S. distributors for Roan Towers. And here we are in Boxborough, Massachusetts, in about the same time frame in 2010, and probably September of 2010. I think that's when they have their Ham Fest, or August, somewhere around there. So we went up to Boxborough. We tried to move some Roan sections. While I'm building the Summit QTH with used sections, I'm selling new sections on the side. So here's Lori, KB2HZI. She's always in on the action, always a great hand. Probably one of the few YLs that'll get in there and do tower work and climb. So here I am. Now we're starting to build. I think Lori's on the gym pole. I'm 99.9% sure. Bobby's way too young at the time. Kelly's not pulling up tower section. So it's definitely Lori on the ground. I don't know what the height is, but you could see the gym poles up, and I probably just put in a section here. This is me on the Roan 25, gym poles in place, section. I don't know. This looks like it's about 30 feet on guys, so probably the last section of the before another set of guys are going on. So while I'm building these towers at the Summit QTH, the family's coming up periodically with me, and they're enjoying the life in the mountains. Here they are with their paintball guns on the attack. Who are they shooting? I have no idea. Probably another group. Of course, now we're up there with the quads. Everybody's having a good time. This is Kelly right here. This is my niece, April, and I'm not sure who that is in the background there. So while we're building the station outside here in Summit, again, let me check in with others who haven't seen this one and what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 2010 Summit, New York QTH contest build before we even thought about remoting. So here's my wife, Lori. This is 2010. She's in her, she might be 40 at the time, somewhere around there. And here she is putting together the IKEA desk. IKEA desks make for a really nice desk for ham radio operating. It's got the right height, and you can buy all different parts and pieces for the IKEA just to do it just the way you want. And I'll show you that in a second. Here it is. Nice curve to it, and Lori's putting the final touches to the desk. We're going to be operating there locally. This is before remoting. So we're building a station, and I'm going to operate it remote. I'm not remote. I'm going to operate there in person, 2010. And, you know, when I said earlier, I got the shirt on here that says 2014 WRTC. I was a competitor in that event, and it's because of this location, W2 Summit. Nice desk. IKEA makes a nice desk. It's clean. You could get your chair underneath there, and it's relatively inexpensive. Okay, let's get back outdoors here. Still continue on building the tower sections. Listen, we put these 4 towers. So this is how this went down. During the summer of 2010, I poured all the concrete. In the fall of 2010, I didn't get the building permission until October of 2000, the early part of October in 2010. The process took longer than I expected. Took way longer than I expected, but here we are. This is the early part of, it's either late September or early October. The reason I remember that is I had my uncle come up. My uncle came up, and he went to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he stayed the night with us. And I remember the Yankees being in the playoffs in 2010. So that's how I remember that it was definitely in the fall time. The Yankees were in the play. I think they were playing the Red Sox that night, and we were all watching the game. So this is the September. It's got to be October because it was the playoffs. This is a 5-element, 20-meter high-gain 205 BA. This antenna is no longer up at this QTH. But it was a good antenna. And again, I was in the tower business. I got this antenna from a guy in Rockland County after I put up a Force 12 for him, a multi-band Force 12. And I think I settled on $200 buying this antenna used. So I picked it up. I said, you know what? I'll put it up in Summit. 5-element, 20 at 100 feet should play pretty good. So here we are. We're on the tram line. You can see the fall colors. It's definitely fall time. And we're pulling up this 5-element 20. Lori's on the pull rope, and I'm directing the thing up the tower. Always the trickiest part is to get those elements past that top guy wire. So here I am trying to get it past the guy wires. Okay, tram line past the guy wires, 5-element 20's up on the tower, and I'm starting to put it together. Shortly thereafter, we put up a 5 or 6-element 10-meter below it, and I got this antenna used from a guy in New Jersey. It's called a TET. I think it's from Japan. Anyway, we put that up. Meanwhile, it's still the fall time of 2010. Here's the first tower behind the back of the house. This right here is 100 feet of Roan 25, hint, hint. Here's another Roan 25 tower. Keep in mind, most of this towers up here are Roan 25 at this location. I was under a budget. I just dropped a ton of money on a deposit for the house, so I'm still working for Pepsi Cola. So I got all these used tower sections, got all these used antennas. And here's a 5-element 20 with a 5 or 6 element 10 below it. And then I had a 3-element 10-meter fixed South America. So we got some antennas out there. Lee comes up. You know, he's really good with helping me with the wiring. So we got all the stack matches and everything all wired up. Again, this is all manual switching back in the day. We're not even thinking about remoting this station. It's 2010. This is what I had for amplifiers back in the day. These are Ameritron AL1200s. Really, really good amplifiers. If you have your own personal station and you're not remoting and you don't mind tube amplifiers, the Ameritron AL1200 is probably the best amplifier ever built. You can't kill the tube. You can't kill that 3CX1200 tube, even if you wanted to. I've never seen one of those tube go. But the 8877s and the AL1500, you get that grid a little too high, they pop on you. The quad come in very handily. And here's the tram line. We actually had the tram line attached to the winch on the front of the quad. Here I am to the left. Here's Lee to the right. Probably in that same frame time when we got all the radio equipment hooked up, we probably worked on the monobanders on 10 and 15. Shortly thereafter, we did the electrical work. We already had, 200 amp service into the house. Now we just got to run 220 to the shack. A good friend of mine, Whiskey Tango 4 Quebec, electrician, came up. Paid him with a few cold beers. Went out to dinner. Here he is, hooking up the wiring, putting in the 220 lines underneath the desk. So here we are. This is 5 over 5 over 5 on 10 meters, 5 over 5 over 5 on 15. The three 10-meter Yagis, which haven't been in use for a long time, are fixed on Europe. And the 5-element 15 is rotatable. Jim is operating the station. Came up, put the 220 lines in. Here he is in operating. Still October of 2010, and of course it's already snowing up in the mountains. We get an awful lot of snow up in Summit. We had a storm there. The other day. 100 centimeters of snow, and I think that equals to about 40 inches. 40 inches and 100 centimeters of snow in a storm there about a month ago. Okay, snow's melting away, sun came out, and here's a bunch of tower sections used that we have on the ground. If you're just checking in, I'm talking about the W2 Summit build, one of the first contest stations I've ever built. This is before remoting, and I'm going to get to why we started remoting it. Here's the 5 over 5 over 5 on 10, 5 over 5 over 5 on 15. These are Cushcraft antennas, the XM series. Work very well. They're still up on the towers today. I haven't had any issues with them. They've survived the harsh weather, but they're short booms. It's too bad that Cushcraft got away from these monoband series because they were the best antennas that Cushcraft ever made. Here's Lori. We're now going to build the Roan 45 tower. And if you notice the piece of wood, this is one of the things that I'd like to mention. The piece of wood is there because that's where we put the tower section on. We put it up vertically. So this way you don't get any dirt. You don't get any dirt in those legs when they're getting pulled up, because they'll eat into the dirt on the gin pole rope. So we put that wood there. Always try to point out things that you don't think of. Putting on the Philly Strand big grips, that's always a fun task. Lori's able to handle that, no problem. Here I am up on the tower, starting to build the 100 feet hint plus tower here in W2 Summit. I had permission for 400-foot towers. Here's Lori soldering. I'll get right back to that in a moment. Let me check in with a few more people here. Wow, we got a nice group in here this morning. Hello, Mr. Mini Whip. We got Kevin out of Scotland. Ben Eastwood is K4BAN. Ben is a youth on RHR. We got Bill, Kilo Zulu 3 India. Good to see you in here, Bill. Okay, Chuck, thanks for the audio report. Henrik, 5 and 9. Audio's amazing, Ray. Okay, great, fantastic. Aaron's in here. Everybody's telling me the audio's good, which is great. Lima Alpha 2 Fox Kilo Alpha. Peter, we got Manuel in here, 9 Hotel 5 Lima Radio. We got Laura, Kilo Oscar 4 Delta Fox Japan, coming in from Twitch TV. Good to see you from Laura. Your beanie hat that I'm wearing right now, similar to it. Brand new, not my old one, is on the way. Laura won the beanie drawing last Friday. Oh, by the way, I should mention that. So tomorrow I'm heading to Cape Cod. I'm starting a remote station in Cape Cod, so I won't have the Friday giveaway tomorrow. So I'm going to do the Friday giveaway on Saturday. So make sure to check in on Saturday's show, and we're going to be giving away a bunch of RHR merchandise. Laura was one of the first recipients of a prize. The other one that won in the last show was Alpha 71 Alpha Mike. Safe won an RHR baseball cap. We got Eric. Good to see you in here. 9 Alpha 0 Yoda. Good, Gokum. Yeah, so let me just quickly talk about that before I move on. 9 Alpha 0 Yoda was an event that took place in December. A bunch of young ops on the air did a participation in a month-long contest. And their goal was to make 100,000 QSOs between all the youth stations around the world. And they made it. But the 9 Alpha 0 Yoda team was the one that put them over the top. I think they made, 20,000 QSOs out of the 100,000. Congrats to the guys over there. And to Richard, 9 Alpha 1 Tango Tango. Richard, 9 Alpha 1 Tango Tango is doing the same thing we're doing here in the U.S. with the remote stuff and youths. And it's great to see others participating in the youth program, especially from around the world. Thank you very much, Richard, 9 Alpha 1 Tango Tango. Oh, here we go. Firkin, Tango Alpha 7 Alpha Oscar Fox. Firkin is also a youth on the 9 Alpha 1 Tango Tango station. Unfortunately, here in the U.S., you have to be boots on the ground to operate under SEPT. I really hope some kind of organization or somebody can get a hold of the FCC and say, hey, this boots on the ground thing is hurting participation. Be great if that could be lifted, because a guy like Firkin, who's a youth, could be operating from the U.S. as Whiskey 2 stroke Tango Alpha 7 Alpha Oscar Fox. If you hear somebody remoting into the United States with their call sign with a stroke W2 or W4, W7, it's irrelevant which location it is, they're operating illegally. And there's still a lot of that happening today. The FCC make it very simple under SEPT. Boots on the ground. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that language is pretty straightforward to me. To operate on SEPT, you have to be boots on the ground, meaning you have to physically be in the country. But there are some other ham radio organizations that remote, that just completely ignore it. Here at RHR, we cannot do that. We have to always be above and beyond. Because, let's face it, we're the face of remoting, pretty much. I mean, anytime remoting's discussed on any forum, the fingers are always pointed at remote ham radio, so we go above and beyond. And here's a perfect example. Here's Peter, Victor Kilo 3, Fox November, also known as Kilo 3 Bravo Victor. Peter went and got his U.S. call sign. He took a test. I think if maybe Peter can confirm this. He took the actual FCC test in Australia, and now he's on the RHR network. He also operates 9 Alpha quite a bit as well. No problem, Gokum. Good to see you in here. Okay, let me continue on. This hobby's changing daily. And what's going on is the rules are way behind the technology. So here's Lori. Lori's in 2015, okay, very good, Peter. Here's Lori wiring up. Have you ever had to put those connectors on a Yaesu rotor? They're a big pain in the neck. And my fingers are very big. And Lori's very meticulous, and she knows how to solder. So here she is getting the pins ready for the Yaesu rotor. Back in the day, when you bought these Yaesu rotors, you had to wire up your own pins. I see now everybody's selling cables, pre-made cables with the connectors on them. And I'll admit, I buy them with the pre-made connectors on them because they do a much better job than I can. So here's a picture of Lori. Again, there's a lot of pictures with Lori here. Lori helped me build the Summit QTH. It was just her and I for 90% of the build. And this was all done. We went from 0 towers in the beginning October to 4 towers in about 25 antennas. So here's Lori working on the M-Square 3-element 40. It's linear loaded. That antenna is no longer on the tower. It's actually on the ground. Anybody that's in the New York area is welcome to come take it. It's still in good shape. M-Square 3-element 40 in the Catskills. There for the taking. Here we are. We're using the quad. So to pull up this 3-element 40, Lori's going to be on the quad with the pull rope, and I'm just going to direct it up. Here she is on the quad. If you've noticed, there's a rope coming to her, so there's a pulley at the bottom, and the antenna is probably already up the tower because I don't see it on the sawhorses anymore. Pictures are kind of out of sync here. So here she is working on the 4-element EF 240. No, 420. 4-element 20 meter from Force 12. This antenna is no longer on the towers. All these antennas were replaced with GXP. Here she is working on the feed line of the EF 420. And there it is. Now we have 2 complete towers. We got 5 over 5 over 5 on 10, 5 over 5 over 5 on 15 on the left tower. Then we got a 3-element 40 and 4 over 4 on 20 meters on the back tower. Hard to see in a picture, but this gives you a good indication. Here's a nice view from the side. This is a piece of open land here I have not done anything with. Eventually, maybe I'll put an 80-meter 4-square in here, but for now, I got an 80-meter 4-square up in the woods made out of wire. This is looking down the boom of the M-Square 3-element 40 linear loaded. While this antenna worked really good, this linear loading stuff, yeah, it's not. It's just a nightmare. This stuff, I've heard of these things breaking on people. I've never had one break on me, but what I could tell you is when it was windy, with this linear loading, the SWR would just bounce all over the place. So I'd rather have coils on the any compromised element lengths. This linear loading is not the way to go. So here's the inside of the shack. Again, 2010. This is probably mid-October 2010. I'm getting the station now ready for CQ Worldwide, October 2010. Here's Lee, WW2DX, testing out the station. Back then, if you notice on the screen, it's I think that's N1MM. Here's Mike AB3CX. Mike is a doctor. He lives up in Cooperstown, about 40 minutes from the actual Summit QTH. And Mike would come down with us while we were operating on site and operate with us. Really, really good operator. CW op. He's also an FRC member, a member that I belong to the same club. Here we are celebrating after our first contest. I think we did sweepstakes together as a multi-op CW. So here's a very interesting picture. This is now same time frame, somewhere around November. I have an unexpected visitor. I'm up in Summit running beverages, and this helicopter all of a sudden just decides it's going to land in my front yard. It happens to be Pat, N2IEN, and Lee, WW2DX. They didn't even tell me they were coming up. I'm like, why is this helicopter landing in my front yard? And there it is. This helicopter right here is probably one of the world-renowned helicopters in D-Expeditions, because this helicopter has been all over the place dropping people off in D-Expeditions. We use this helicopter on the, there's an island up in the Atlantic, Sable Island? Is it Sable or is it the other one? Anyway, trying to remember the call sign. We were Charlie Yankee 9 Charlie, and we used that helicopter to transport and land ourselves on the island. Plus, Pat likes to fly it and land it in my front yard. So while he's there, I go up in the helicopter. And here's Pat, N2IEN, in front of the station. So it's just a leisurely Saturday afternoon. I'm up there running beverages, and here's Pat just flying up there with his helicopter like nothing. A couple pictures of the station. Okay, so now we have the 3 towers up. We're working on the 4th tower. This is still in the same time frame, but this might be November, mid-November. We have a whole nother pallet of concrete coming, because we got to pour a base and 3 more guy anchors. Taking the concrete off the truck, pouring the concrete, mixing the concrete, and putting it in the hole. Here's Lori. These are 80-pound bags. I could see the 80 right on it. Carrying the bag, transporting it to the guy anchor holes. So, same time frame, maybe a week, 2, 3 weeks later, I'm on the tower that we just put up. It's a picture of the house. Keep in mind, I bought this house in 2010. All the savings I had, everything I had to put down for the down payment of 20%. Remember, I'm still working for Pepsi Cola at the time. The wife is a nurse. This is our dream vacation home / contest station. They wanted $175,000 for this, and that was way beyond my budget. And I was able to get it negotiated to $137,000. So, here's some interesting things that happened to us. So while we're running Hudson Valley Towers, we're landing these really good commercial jobs. We're landing a lot of these good commercial jobs because we're running a legitimate company, insured, taxes, incorporated, and NASA was looking for ham radio operators because we're really good at networking and doing a lot of stuff. And NASA came to us because the word out on the street was that these guys were legit. So this is a tower from NASA. They actually delivered it to a drop-off point in Schoharie County. And I went there with my pickup truck, picked it up, and here we are putting it in on the property. So this is a 108-foot crank-up tower that we're going to be putting these special weather antennas to keep an eye on weather, wind direction, barometer. I mean, these antennas were really, really expensive. And here's the trailer. And what We're actually had a contract with these guys to do this at every airport in the United States. They actually said, hey, you guys know what you're doing. We're going to drop a trailer off at every major airport in the United States, and we're going to put these special weather instruments, and you're going to have a contract with us. And we were like, awesome. I'm already thinking, I'm getting out of Pepsi Cola. We're going to have this awesome contract with NASA. President Obama was the president at the time, and he squashed the program. NASA was slashed under Obama, and the contract went away. So here we are, cranking up the tower, folding it over, cranking it up. This is what the tower looked like on the property with my ham radio antennas behind it. Here's a light. We had to put a light on it because we wanted to test it with the light to make sure this all worked. This was going to be put in every airport in the United States. This was the purpose for these weather stations was to speed up airline traffic. You know, when a plane takes off and then another plane follows behind it, you know, it's all guesswork at this point. How soon can that next airplane take off before that first airplane went? And the weather instruments and the specific detectors on this tower that we actually implemented were for those reasons, to see if we can speed up airline traffic. Here's one of the NASA employees. He came up and helped us. It was a big project. Meanwhile, we're doing this. I'm still working full time at Pepsi Cola. Lee is working at the company he works for today. So I think we took vacation time. Both of us took vacation time to get this NASA project going. It was one of probably the coolest thing I've ever done was working for NASA. To be honest with you, if this NASA contract actually went through and we were contracted to do every airport in the United States, remote ham radio wouldn't be here today. So, you know, sometimes things work out for the best. We had so much material coming from NASA, we had to bring in a big trailer. I mean, there was so much stuff showing up daily. This was a big thing for NASA. They needed a location that was on a hilltop that could really give them an indication of high winds with these special antennas. These antennas were really, really expensive. They were in the $30,000 to $50,000 range for one antenna. And you could see that they had like these little feet on it, like a spider. Here we are installing these things, side mounting them on the crank up tower. We had a backup generator. We had solar panels. And we were feeding all this data back to NASA in Virginia. NASA operates out of Virginia, I believe. Solar panels. This gave us the idea of how to remote Haiti, because we've seen how well this worked. Here's how you notice the coax was like ribbon to these antennas, wrapped around the pipe. Sophisticated switching board inside. I never got involved with that. Lee took care of this with these guys, but I had no idea what was going on in that box. But I know there was a lot of stuff to do something with the weather. One of the consequences of working on a crank-up tower, you get greased up. So while that's all taking place, I got the family up there. Like I said, I was on vacation. So there's an amusement park not too far away up in Schoharie County called Howell's Caverns. It's caverns underneath the ground, and they also have a thing where the kids could play. There's Kelly at the time, okay? So I just wanted to throw that in there. Meanwhile, while we're building the station, the kids are having a lot of fun. So here we are. Now we're putting up the antennas on the fourth tower. Here's Lori with the quad. I see her with her iPad in her hand. She must be doing something, waiting for me to get ready. There she is on the rope. There she is moving. This right here, this antenna right here, if you notice, it's got the rivets onto the boom, so that automatically tells me this is a Force 12, and this was a C31XR. Again, this antenna we put up in 2010 is no longer up on the tower. Replaced. There we are. We're getting it set up on the ground. Lori's on the rope. Boom. C31XR at 100 feet. 2 people. Lori on the ground. Me on the tower. That's how all this got done. And done relatively quick. Another picture with the tram line. With the tram going up. And the antenna now. The 2-element. Also Force 12. Linear loaded. Going up. This one seemed to be a little bit better than the 3-element. Now we're fast forward. Now it's 2012. It's 2012 in Summit. And now we're starting to tinker into remoting. So this is how this all went down. So between 2010 and 2012, Lee and I, when we did a contest, and we did a lot of multi-ops, and I did a lot of single ops, we would travel the 2.5 hours one way, 2.5 hours back. It would be between 4 to 5 hours to get to the location and back, which isn't terrible. But it was an inconvenience. So we landed up picking up this rack, and we decided, let's try remoting. Let's just try it. Nobody's really doing it successfully at the time. We heard about these remote rigs that came out, and we said, all right, let's give it a try. So here it is, the first setup of remoting ever by RHR. We got our 2 Green Heron controllers in there. We got the remote rig. It's probably hard to see in this picture. And underneath the remote rig is an ICOM 706 without the faceplate. Here's the back side of it. If you notice the remote rig, the ICOM 706. Back then we were using these big servers. These are small pictures. I'll continue on. Here I am. This is a drone picture. I'm up at 100 plus feet. Picture taken from the drone. This is a really nice picture. Sometimes the sun is just right. The drone's up. And this just gives you a really good perspective of this location. There's a lot of ham radio operators that, have really big signals, but they don't have this location. This is a low noise floor location. My goal really, when I started building this station, was to compete in the multi category. I think it was going to be really cool to operate multi from this mountaintop. But RHR got in the way. I'm going to explain that in a few moments. RHR got in the way, but this gives you a perspective of how beautiful the Catskill Mountains are. And if you see up here, all the way to the top, I'm circling with my mouse. There's a log cabin with an orange roof. I did a live presentation yesterday. You can go back to last night's presentation. I did the presentation of W2 Jefferson. W2 Jefferson's right across the street from that house. We actually shoot Wi-Fi from W2 Jefferson to W2 Summit to get internet. One of the tidbits that many don't know. We actually have two ham radio locations in 2 different towns across the valley from each other. Summit's at 2,200 feet above sea level, proximate, and Jefferson's at 2,300 feet above sea level. Here's Lori flying the drone. That's the picture she just took. And this is, I got some winter pictures. These are really nice. It's always snowing in the Catskills. I I've seen snow in May, and I've seen snow in September. So the only 3 times I haven't seen snow up in this location is June, July, August, and that's it. June, July, and August. The other 9 months, you could get snow. A couple more pictures with the snow. It's really awesome up there in the wintertime. Unfortunately, I'm so busy, I can't get up there. I haven't been up to this QTH in about 5 or 6 weeks. I have a camera on the front of the house, a Ring camera, so I know if anybody's coming or going. I got the Nest app for because I got this is house is run on a furnace with oil heat, and I got a Nest app that tells me if the temperature gets below 50. So I'm able to keep an eye on the house remotely. Here's Nikki, one of my closest friends in ham radio, Echo India 9 Japan Fox. Came in from Ireland. We came up here in May a few years ago. He was going out to Dayton with us, and I said, hey, let's take a trip up to my QTH in the Catskills. You can see it's early spring, May time. The leaves are just getting on the trees. Selfie of us, too. Also, in the same time frame, I think right after Dayton, this might be 2017, 2018. The guy on the left is a WRTC competitor, Oscar Mike. Sorry, don't remember his suffix. Maybe those of you who are watching know who this guy on the left is, what his call sign is. This is Nikki, Echo India 9 Japan Fox in the middle. And this is Adrian, Kilo Oscar 8 Sugar Charlie Alpha. We took a trip up to the Catskills, up to the Summit QTH. And here we all are at the Summit QTH with Lee, WW2DX on the right. Picture of Lori and I at the QTH, Lori on the deck. Summit, New York. The great outdoors with the American flag. Beautiful town. Remember, I was telling you earlier, when you build a station outside of your home location, go to a town that has no money. It's the trick of getting past the zoning board. A lot of these towns in the U.S. are really strapped on funds, and they're just getting by. And you can tell by going to one of the board meetings when they tell you what's in the treasury and what's going on with the town and what kind of budget they have. In most of these rural, inland, mountaintop locations, especially in the Catskills, they're not financially in shape to fight you in litigation if you want to put up that 100-foot tower. You know, you can go on. Most of these towns have their zoning regulations online now. You don't even have to call them up. You can actually go on and type in the town that you want to look to build a tower. And this is how I do it. I'll get on Zillow. And I'm looking in a specific location. Most of the time, it's the coast of Maine. And I'll look and I'll see something that catches my interest. I'll just use an example. Let's say it's Machias, Maine. And what I'll do is I'll do Google Earth. To see if the property is something I'm interested in. If the property looks good, I go to the town online zoning regulations. And it'll tell you right in there if ham radio is exempt, if there's any tower regulations, and if there's any commercial tower regulations. It's very good information. And, you know, you need to do your homework before you build that remote station. And one of them is to find out if you can get past the zoning. Zoning, very important. You can find that beautiful QTH, but getting through the town sometimes is virtually impossible. I've seen ham radio operators give up because it would financially ruin them by continuing on. So my suggestion is, with HOAs becoming a big issue, especially outside of these big cities like New York City, forget about trying to put a tower up in Long Island. You know, unless you're secluded and there's nobody around you, you're not putting up a 100-foot tower in Long Island unless you have big bucks to fight them. So try to find something up in the mountains, there's a lot of towns. I don't want to give you specific towns because you might be competition with me. But Summit, New York, the great outdoors. And here's Lori. A picture of her. Here's Lori in front of the towers. Lori likes to get on the camera. Or maybe I like to take pictures of her. Radio Echo Communication. Here's Radio Echo Communications. This is my other tower business. So Hudson Valley Tower. Here's Bobby and I in front of the Hudson Valley Towers trailer. So Hudson Valley Towers, between 2008 and 2012, served over 75 hams in the Northeast U.S. We did a lot of tower jobs. We made a lot of friends. We made a lot of connections under Hudson Valley Towers. But we knew the success of remote ham radio was on the horizon. So we closed down the Hudson Valley Towers to amateurs. We kept the business still going because there is some nice commercial work out there. And we actually operate RHR under Hudson Valley Towers. And the tower business, we build the towers under Hudson Valley Towers. So just a little tidbit there. But I also own a company called Radio Echo Communications that's owned between Bobby and I. And we do ham installations. We had to wait a few years. So basically, when we closed down Hudson Valley Towers in 2012, we had a time frame between 2012 and 2018 to really focus on building the remote ham radio sites. And in 2018, I was getting a tremendous amount of emails from the ham community. They were begging me to get back into business because they hired other guys and they weren't happy with their service. And they asked if I'd get back in. So I got back in 2018 under Radio Echo Communications. This is the early stages of the remoting at the location. You notice there's a K3. We actually had a tube amplifier here for 160 meters. So this K3 here and this amplifier here was for 160. And then over to the left here, you'll see an Expert 1 kilowatt and another K3 down here. So we had two stations running very early in Summit. This is all changed. Inside, I have a garage. I have a garage at the location. So I have all the coax come in here and all lightning protection. Here's the DX Engineering switch. So somewhere around 2018, 19, somewhere around there, we decided that it was great using all these Force 12 antennas, but they weren't doing very good in the Summit weather. The elements are starting to break. The rivets are starting to fall out of the booms, and it's like, it's time. It's time to put up real antennas, so we started to build GXP antennas. Here we are building the GXP antennas. This is Bobby. Got the Radio Echo Communication t-shirt on. Here I am working on the GXPs. We're on the front deck building the elements. More elements being built for GXP. They're going to replace all the Force 12s that are falling apart on the towers. Like I said, the Force 12 worked well, but rivets with 50, 60, 70, 80 mile an hour winds in the winter, they eventually fall out. Here's the coils. The coils on the GXPs. I've never had one of these fail. They're well built. Here's my two boys. To the left is Ray Jr., who just moved to San Diego last week. And there's Bobby to the right. We're going to pull up these GXPs we just built. If you look in this photo right here, I'm circling here, you'll see a lot of cross wiring. This is a antenna that has 4 driven elements. It's a 6-element 20 with 4 driven elements. Flat SWR curve. It's essentially a 4-element 20, but really good SWR curve. Here's a 3-element GXP 40 now being built. Remember, I had those M-square linear loaded up there. So being that I have these EF 420s falling apart, And with the wind, with the M square antennas, with the SWR jumping all over the place, I said it's time. Let's get some real antennas up there. We put these GXP antennas up in 2018, and we haven't had any issues since. Here it is. 6/6 on 20 with a 3-element 40. Here's Ray and Bobby in front of the towers. And here's a far-away view. The new 3-element 40 with the 6/6 on the back tower here. Another view of the 6/6. The 6-element 20 is only on a 32-foot boom. It's a short boom. It's essentially the boom length of a 4-element 40, but it's 4 driven elements. 4 driven elements. Here's a view of the summer, probably shortly after we put these antennas up. And the glitter is always a nice sight. Couple more pictures. We're not done yet. We're not done. Remember that 5-element 20 that I had, that high gain? Well, it's time to take that down. We're putting up a GXP 16-3 tri-bander. Here's this being built in the front yard. Lori, I, and Bobby working on the GXP 16-3. Here is the new, so here, let's go back. So this is the old antennas, 4/4 EF 420s, and a 3-element linear loaded. And here's the new antennas. 6/6 with a 3-element linear loaded, no, a 3-element coil 40. You know, I never go above 7,200. So these GXPs, you can get under 2-to-1 SWR from the bottom of the band to 7,200. You know, full size is great. Gives you slightly more gain, slightly more bandwidth. But for a location like this on a mountaintop, it's not worth the headaches. Here's a sunset view of those new antennas. So now we're working on the tower that used to have the 5-element 20 on it. Here's a 8-element 6-meter Yagi. First antenna to go up after we took the old ones down. And here's now the 8-element 8-element with the GXP 16-3, which is 4 elements on 20, 4 elements on 15, and 8 elements on 10. Here I am standing on top of the tower, giving a little pose with the drone. While all this is taking place, while we're building all these antennas and stuff at the location, we have the most awesome parties up there in the summertime. The family comes up, everybody comes up, and they come up with their trailers, and we just have fun. We camp on site. It really turned out to be an awesome location for ham radio and for family activities. And it's just incredible fun. Incredible fun. You know, I try to mix ham radio with enjoyment. I'm a big family man. And this is a family picture. Lori and I, you know, we like to go hiking as well. So up in the Catskills is some awesome hiking places. So we always get out there and hike. This is one of the trails in the Catskill Mountains we're on. The best hiking in the world is up in the Catskills. Here I am. Here's a picture of me on the lake up here, not too far from this is Summit Lake, not too far from the QTH. Always admiring the antennas. Here's my Radio Echo Communication t-shirt. So this is what the remote looks like today here at the location. We have a Flex 6600 with a Elecraft KPA 1500. We also have another Flex radio here with an Expert 1K. This is going to be replaced. We haven't decided what we're going to do with the Experts. This Expert 1K is only rated at 1,000 watts. And a lot of people like to do digital modes these days. And you can only run half power. So 600 watts is the maximum on digital. And that's not cutting it anymore for us. So we're either going to replace this with an Elecraft KPA 1500 or a Flex Genius. We're actually waiting for the Flex Genius to come out with their antenna tuner and all their switching. So if you notice, I've been selling a lot of Expert amplifiers. I got an Expert 1.5 for sale that we're going to move. Here I am. I got the new Flex radios in my hand. Here's the old Elecrafts. I'm not against Elecraft. They're great radios. We had 24 of them. We only have 4 left. We sold 20 K3s in the last 6 weeks. Most of them sold off of Facebook. I sold a few off of QTH.com. And here I am with 2 new Flex 6600s in my hand, replacing these 2 Elecrafts. So that's the presentation on W2 Summit. Let me get back to a nice picture here. And, W2 Summit in 2010, my only goal with that QTH was the contest from. And we did a really good job from that location to get into WRTC 2014. If you look, I got the T-shirt on right here, the polo shirt, 2014. I was a competitor because of this location. It got me in because of this location. Plus, we had really good multi-ops for CW. So the way I got into WRTC 2014, I did all the SSB competition single op. And then we did all the competition multi-op on CW to push us over the top in the New York, the W2 region. So we competed in WRTC 2014 from Massachusetts with everybody else. And this QTH got us in. But during WRTC 2014, Lee and I were already up to our elbows in RHR. And the WRTC thing was on our back burner. I know a lot of guys were really looking forward to getting in there and competing. And doing a good job. Lee and I were so busy with the remote stuff that we did not practice at all, and we kind of were embarrassed by our finish there. But hindsight 2020, we should probably got on a few contests beforehand. So W2 Summit is the most used remote station in the world the past 12 years, 8 years, I should say. This station is on every day, 10, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Even though we have these big stations in Maine, this Summit location is right up there with them in usage. And it's just a quiet QTH. I open this QTH occasionally to the Utes. Alpha 4, Lima Sugar, Charles, 14 years old, last weekend operated from here. In North America, QSO Party, CW, made 1,400 Qs, 220,000 points. Not bad for a 14-year-old. He operated SO2R. We got Connor, Whiskey 4 Italy, Papa Charlie. He's going to be operating North America QSO Party from here this weekend in SSB. See how he does from this location. And the Utes have done NAQP in the past as a multi-op and done really well from this location. So this is the W2 Summit location, how we got to this point. It started off as a contest station, and now it's just remote only. I haven't physically operated there since my last contest in 2013 for sweepstakes. My last contest from here physically was sweepstakes 2013 phone. It's the only time I ever operated phone sweepstakes from this location. I made like 1,800 Qs, and I actually made the top 10 in the U.S., which is really hard from the East Coast in sweepstakes. And this that record, or that score that I scored in 2018 is still today the Northern New York record for sweepstakes. Sweepstakes to me is a very boring contest. I get in there, it's great for the first 12 hours, and then after that, it's all down the tube. So I have not had any interest in operating sweepstakes phone since that was one of the requirements to get into WRTC 2014. So I actually operated the contest because it gave you extra points to get into WRTC. So that was the last time I operated physically at this location. I have not since 2013. I have not actually done a contest from here remotely. A lot of people have. You know, I'm not into contesting. I'm not a big contester. I do 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 contests a year. And it's usually WPX and CQ Worldwide. It's just not something that, that I'm really into. I'm really into building stations for others to enjoy. And I look forward to these youths getting on the air and having the ability to operate remote and having the opportunity to operate these stations to hone their skills, show others how good they really are. Because let's face it, a lot of these young operators, they got a dipole in their tree and 100 watts at home. So once they have a little taste of a little RF gain, they can show off their skills. So this is the W2 Summit. Appreciate everybody being in here today. Please share this video with your friends. And tomorrow, I'm going to be heading off to Cape Cod, Massachusetts to build another remote station. So I will not be around tomorrow for any live streaming. But on Saturday, if I am around, we're going to do the giveaway Friday on Saturday. And that's where we give away a bunch of hats and maybe coffee cups and maybe this time T-shirts. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Ray W2RE here in the RH